Now, another very common one that I get asked about, or one that I set myself, is for a port number, be it UDP, TCP, or a range. So I'm going to show you, there's two aspects of this next filter that I'm going to show you. One is a specific port, and the next is one of ports on a list. Whether the port is this or this or this or this, go ahead and display it. Well, let me back up. Going to just remove this, and I'm going to show you the Y factor. So a lot of times I'm doing TCP analysis. That's the Y. And ports are a big deal. So just like it sounds, TCP.port equals, got my double equals. And this is where this operator makes a difference. So before I dig any deeper into these weeds, first I just want to talk for a moment about these operators that you see here. So there's several different operators that I can use. One is the equals here. So if I'm saying, hey, this field, compare it to this value, well, and then show if true, then I use equals equals. I also could use the English expression of EQ. It does exactly the same thing. All right. Both will turn Wireshark green. When you get your filter syntax right, you see that Wireshark filter turns green. When it's wrong, or when it's got something missing, it'll warn you by giving you that red display filter bar. Okay, so TCP.port EQ is the same as equals equals. What else can we use here? We can also use is not equal to. So show me all the stuff that's not port 80. What else? There's a few other operators, like for example, I can also use maybe an or an and operator when I'm looking at different values. I'm going to progressively be showing you how to use those. But for now, let's just do equals equals, and I'm going to go ahead and type in 80. Show me all the port 80 traffic. Well, as you and I know, port 80 is kind of disappearing from a lot of things. Yeah. Now, a lot of things are going over secure web. They're going to go over to port 443. So let's say that I wanted to see either port 80 or 443. Well, I could say port 80 or back out 443, sure. But how could I see one or the other? Well, there's a couple ways I could do that. One, I could say TCP port equals 80 or TCP.port equals 443, right? Now, as we know, some web servers use more than just port 80. They might use, or even secure web servers, they might do 4443 or 8000, 8001, 8002. So I could just make a big list of ORs. How do you like that, David? Does that look efficient?
Not if I know you, Chris.
Yeah, I can just, completely burn myself out putting in all the port numbers. Or what I can do, let me just back this up. Anytime that I'm using the same field name, right, over and over again, port, what I can do now is I'm going to show you the next coolest filter ever in the world. Okay, so TCP port, and I just used the in operator. Hey, David, have you ever heard of the in operator before?
No, tell us about it, Chris.
Let's do it. So this is the membership operator. And what this does is it allows me to use a curly brace, and then I can give a bunch of different values here that can be used as basically OR statements in a way. So TCP.port in membership operator, I think about it like includes or could include.
That's nice, yeah.
80, comma, you got to be comma separated. 80, 443, comma, 8000. And then here's a cool thing. ... makes it a range, 8005. Curly brace.
That's nice.
So what I just specified is show me any packet that has a port that is 80, 443, 8000, 8001, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And I did that all with one expression.
I always think, Kristen, you've got the experience, but how do you learn all this stuff? Just check the reference guides, watch your videos on your YouTube channel. How do I learn this stuff?
You know what? That's a very good question, David. And that's where I want to give some props to some other analysts in the industry. There's a friend of mine named Jasper and Saka. There's these two amazing people in the Wireshark community. You can find them. In fact, Saka, if you go to Wireshark About, you'll find his name in the authors, right? Sake. Nice. So these guys, they're friends of mine. They're amazing analysts. And by observing some of their workflows, what I've done is I've gone, whoa, I'm doing this wrong. I could do this better. So a lot of times going to an industry conference like Shark Fest or and having conversations with these ones through various means, that's where I could say, hey, I need to set a certain type of filter. David, you asked how I learned some of these things. I just mentioned some of the industry experts, but here there's another area that I'd like to take a look. And this is ask.wireshark.org. You can get here if you just go to the wireshark.org homepage. And then at the top, I believe you just go to ask a question and it'll bring you here. Or if you could just bookmark ask.wireshark.org. This is where people, when they got questions about Wireshark, packet analysis, how to set a filter, all the stuff. This is just a monster wiki. And the awesome thing about it is that some of the people that are answering these questions, like Yap, he's a core developer. This is one of the developers that is actually writing this thing. You know, if you look at some of the others, Christian R., if you look at Chuck C., he's an awesome guy. I mean, Sinbit, that's the one that I just showed you, Saka. So these people are actively answering questions out on ask.wireshark.org. Fantastic community. And if you have a question that, or maybe a protocol or a filter you'd like to set, not sure how to do it, you can either search for it, see if it's been covered, or go ahead and register and ask it. And you're probably going to get help from one of the core developers. Great question, David, and thanks for asking it. Okay, so where were we? We already set a IP address. We did source and destination. I showed you how to look at those filter names. We went and saved the filter, and we went ahead and looked at how we can set a range of ports using the membership operator.